Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash, giving all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. No thun kau, Lalium la Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there. As you can see or hear rather, I'm not ashamed to call on the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Kakwadash, as others are ashamed of. Anyway, I'm going to go on to my topic, and I'm going to entitle this topic, Thus with Violence Shall That Great City Babylon Be Thrown Down. And what I may do is, I said I'm just going to read maybe a verse or two. So I read this, the 21st verse of Revelation 18. Then my eyes kind of rolled up to the 20th verse. And it's a short chapter. I did this before. We attempted to do this complete breakdown of Revelation chapter 18 a couple of weeks ago, and going to other subjects and so forth. But this is an important chapter. This is one of my favorite chapters. But the topic is violence. I was just watching a YouTube video. Like, I subscribe to these YouTube pages that deal with Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, these gig services. Because I have a Google account that I used to pick up people. I haven't did that in a while because of the gas prices. And there's a lot of messes going on. There's a series of strikes. There was a major strike in New York City sometime last week. And I believe it was this past Monday. And there's another one, I believe. There's one coming up in Chicago, O'Hare Airport. They're going to shut that down. I believe there's another one coming up in Boston. There was one in California. Because of prices, they're not raising prices. They're not giving you the percentages that they promised in the first place, which is low. These driving gigs, I'm talking mainly Uber and Lyft, in order for them to kill your local taxi companies, they got to lower prices. So it's a matter of dollars and cents. So they lower prices, and they promise in the beginning that you got 70% of the fare. But come to find out, you cool with certain people that you pick up, they'll tell you, you'll ask them how much did they get, and then they'll tell you, oh, this is what I got, and they'll show you their phone, and you find out that you didn't get 70%. You might have got 55% or 54%. They play with the numbers to their advantage. So people are sick and tired of it. They're not raising prices. Gas is going up. Gas just recently started going down. So, either they're going to raise prices and treat the gig workers fairly, or they're going to go out of business. There's other newer gig services that there's one, but it's only in one, I think it's in Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, but they're promising that you get 100%. You got to pay like a subscription to the app, which is $29, and then you get 100% of all the calls. Because you want to be able to make what driving people around to this year, 2022, 2023, you should be making $50 an hour, at least $50 an hour. You figure you work You work a full 8 hours. You got part-time. Part-timers, they work 4 hours, they get $200. But you work 8 hours, you get $400 with tips and all that. It could be 500, closer to 500. You're doing pretty decent if you can bring home that type of money. If you can bring home 500 a day, you got your expenses. Don't forget that. You got your 500 a day. Let's say expenses might be $100. I'm just throwing numbers out. So you bring home 400, solid 400, right? So in 3 days, you made $1,200. You work 6 days, you make 2,400, almost $2,500. That's 10,000 a month, which is good as of right now. And but what they're making now is crap. You gotta maintain your car. If you're driving your car 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, that's wear and tear on your body, wear and tear on your car. And then plus you got to deal with there's a well, it's been going on, but it's going on big time with violence. You got people. There's a thing in Baltimore with these nigglets down there. DC. Jake is a major fucking problem. They're a bunch of gremlins, man. Hey, I see why the scriptures say the we have become more wicked than the wicked, man. Esau watches us to learn how to be more wicked. You want to talk about being wicked and evil? Is these damn Jakes? They don't give a shit, man. They don't give a fuck, and that's why the Most High's got to take them out. So, like I said, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. I'm gonna go into the etymology of some of these words. Okay, so I put in violence. Let's see where this takes me. I put in violence. The first scripture that came up was Genesis 6:11. The earth, like the small hat, so say barashith, which is in the headings, or like the head of something. The beginning of something is the head of something, right? Barashith, in the headings, in the beginnings. So that's what Genesis translates to from the Hebrew. The earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me click on this, and I'm gonna come back to Revelation 18. The corruption of mankind. Start from the first verse. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, or the known earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. Now, you got a lot of people that are going to this, and they'll say that this is talking about the Anunnaki and the angels coming down, having sex with humans. I mean, you have prominent people that teach this nonsense, man. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Because I don't have no real direction. I'm just going with the spirit. I'm going to go to the commentators, see what they say about it. If the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Hawashai, has not opened up your eyes fully, you're not going to see this. Well, what does it say in Romans 11? Sounding at around the 9th verse. It speaks about this table being turned into a snare. Let me open that up. Let me open that up real quick. Romans 11. Oh, this right here proves to you that the Lord is still dealing with the Israelites. Israel is not cast away. It's talking about national Israel. Sixth verse. And if by grace, then is it no more of works? Right, because we're saved by grace, not by works. And this is what guys like vocab push. See, they go by a works base. You got to keep the laws. No, no, no. That's certain groups that say that. We don't say that, or else we wouldn't be dealing with the New Testament, with the Savior. We need a Savior. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be works, then is it no more grace. Otherwise, works is no more works. What then? Israel hath obtained that which he seeketh for, but what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for. So Israel's seeking for the truth, but they're not going to obtain the truth. But the election have obtained it. What? The truth. And the rest were blinded. The rest of who? The rest of the Israelites. You have two types of Israelites. You have Israelites that have the truth, the Most High open up their eyes, which we call the elect. And then you have Israelites that don't know the truth or know some of the truth. Like the fool, when the Most High gives you the truth, he doesn't give you part of the truth. He doesn't give you 75% of the truth. He gives you 100% truth or nothing at all, or part of the truth. Like the MOTB, that's part of the 100% truth. If you go off on the MOTB and say it's something other than what we say it is, then you don't have 100% truth. So you would be in the category of not being a part of the elect, unless the Most High opens up your eyes. The parable of the 10 virgins, 5 are wise and 5 are foolish. The 5 are foolish, know that they're Israelites, but they don't have the whole truth. But the election have attained it, and the rest of who? The rest of Israel were blinded. And that's a lot of the 2/3. And I'm going to say this about the 2/3. Cuff the 2/3. Turn that around backwards. Casey, what did he mean by cuff? Turn around backwards. Beyonce did a song called Cuff It. What did she call that? Why did she say cuff it? The word cuff ain't nowhere in the song. Anyway, according as it is written, the Most High have given them the spirit of slumber, put their asses to sleep. You ever watch a boxing match and you see a guy get knocked out cold? They got to bring in a stretcher. Well, that's you. That's y'all. That's the 2/3. They knocked out cold. They don't know what's going on. Eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. What's today's date? It's 12 December 24, which is Saturday, 2022. The year of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai turning up. And he's tell me that that was the wrong, title you gave for that year, because nothing really happened this year. Oh, like Bishop Nate said. He said that the time of Jacob's trouble is not going to happen. And then years later, he said, I said that for you idiots out there. Because you're the idiot. Idiot, look up the word idiot. It's somebody that doesn't know, that's void of understanding of something. You're the idiot. And then all of a sudden you change it. The scriptures say, meddle not with them that are given the change. Now you say that see, back then, not too many things were happening. Well, you don't wait till the things happen to then label it, okay, this means this. There's something that's going to come. We're not in Jacob's trouble yet. It said, but the election have attained it, and the rest were blinded. According as is written, the Most High have given them the spirit of slumber eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. And David saith, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. That means when you try to go into the scriptures and you try to figure it out on your own, you get further confused. Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see. Not see what? The words that's in this book, and bow down their back always. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? The Most High forbid, but rather through their false salvations coming to the Gentiles, Israelites and Gentile state of mind, for to provoke them to jealousy. So this is going back to over 2,000 years, 2,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago plus, when Paul was dealing with the Israelites, he knew they were Israelites but didn't have the gospel, and Israelites that didn't know that they were Israelites coming back into the fold of being Israelites and understanding the gospel. So where did I say I was going to go? Oh, I wanted to go this one. Let me go to this. Let me go to this scripture. Vomit. Proverbs 23:8. The morsel, which that morsel is like a bite of food, which thou hast eaten, shalt thou vomit up and lose thy sweet words. What is that talking about? The little bit that you learn, maybe following us, and you became disenchanted, you're going to vomit up that little that you learned. Proverbs, this the main scripture I want is this one here, but I'm just reading these. Proverbs 25, verse 16. Has thou found honey? Has thou found honey? Now that honey is sweet, right? Or another thing about honey cannot go bad. They've recently found jars of honey in the pyramids. We're talking about over 3,000 years ago. They found honey. They tested it and they said this honey is still good. You can eat it. There's something within the honey that bacteria can't see. What makes things go bad is bacteria. When you die and your body decomposes, that's bacteria take over because your immune system dies with your body. There's bacteria all over us, but our immune system, that's why we take baths and showers and so forth. We're fighting bacteria. So bacteria cannot destroy honey. I'm talking about real honey, not no golden blossom honey. I'm talking about real honey, organic, pure honey. There's an element in there. Somebody can help me if they know. If you're a scientist out there, let me know. Go into the science. I can go into the science and find out. But it never goes bad. It never goes bad. The honey that was in, going back to Solomon, the situation with the lion, there was honey there. The honey didn't go bad. You can eat the honey. What is sweeter than honey? And honey's super sweet. It says, how has thou found honey? Now, this honey is talking about this word, this knowledge, this information. Eat so much as is sufficient for thee, lest thou be filled therein and vomited. There's guys that come in, they do a year, 2 years, and they say, look, I'm over the apostles. I know more than the apostles, more than the elders. I'm doing my own thing. And eventually they lose everything. It says, Proverbs 26, verse 11, as a dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly. When people fall off, what do? They go back to what they were doing before they came into this truth. Oh, this is a good one. Isaiah 19 and 14. This is a great chapter, the whole 19th chapter. Yahweh have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. It's talking about the spiritual Egypt, Sodom and Egypt. And they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Now, recently, matter of fact, a couple of days ago, this guy Biden, Joe Biden, he put out a speech pushing this transgender thing that we're supposed to protect transgender people. And then if you 5 years old, you were born a boy, you can classify yourself as being a girl or vice versa. And what else did they say? There was something else that was said that they said they're going to protect them, but there was something else that was said. In other words, if you go for a job interview, you got M and F, right? Well, now they got a third one. You can be a mixture of both. And now, when you go back during the time of the when you go back during the time of the Obama era, didn't he pass the bill or the law, it became law, where you can openly be happy, if you want to call it that, or G happy. And that pretty much started with Clinton, because there was one point, I think the movie was called Biloxi Blues or something like that. It was about World War II. And there was a scene where there was these Edomite men. They were dealing with each other sexually, and some officers came in and grabbed them up, because back then you couldn't be G happy in the military. So when Clinton came along, he said that's got to change. Let's do this. Don't ask, don't tell. Meaning, we don't know if you don't say nothing, and we won't see nothing. But then it went further. See, because this is an agenda. You dumb clown ass people, you idiots, you mega idiots. You think that each president has their own agenda. No, each president is a part of the ultimate agenda. They get it. They get a script. So when Obama came on the scene, when Obama came on the scene, he went deeper. He said, now you can openly be a Mo. So Biden came on the scene, and you notice they're all Democratic presidents, not Republicans. Always Democratic presidents. So Biden said, and then you have Kamala Harris, whatever her name is, standing behind her on the side, not saying nothing. She's a token. That's all she is. That led him to getting him into. She led him into getting into office over the woman vote and the black vote, which Jake wasn't even voting. But anyway, so he's saying now you can be you can be transient. Let me just use that word. You know what I mean? You don't have to say you're M or F. You can say you're the third box. You can be born a boy and become a girl. You can be born a girl and become a boy. And it's protected now. And at the same time, they have a new, how do we say it? Law. Everything is a law. where they're protecting the small hats. Kanye said something about him. Nothing violent. Kyrie said something about a movie that he saw. And then two white boys had plans to attack some temples. One of them, by the way, was a small hat, whose I think grandfather, great grandfather, was a Holocaust victim. So he was a small hat. This guy that these people that were shot in Staten Island, they said it was they kind of try to push it on the so-called BHI, as they say. Come to find out, it was a white boy. Oh, he was a white boy. What movie did I get that from? If you can tell me what what I just said what movie it came out of, you're good. Anyway, Isaiah 28, verse 8, for all tables are full of vomit. Now, this goes hand in hand with Romans chapter 11, verse 9, right? For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. So you come into this thing for a year, 2 years, then the Spirit came to me in a vision, and I went on the fast, and I'm over all you guys. Then you get kicked out. Then you get a bunch of demons that follow your ass, and then you teach this madness, like this thing with Fopi. Most High is not dealing with Fopi at all. They got down with Barack, of the HODC. See, they knew not to get down with GMS because he would have been put in order. He would have been holding posts. He would have been allowed to read, and after he proved himself, then you could become a speaker, okay? Because each and every GMS camp have a leadership, and the Spirit is on these men. We don't got to call them up and say, look, brother, you got to. No, who's calling me up? Who's giving me the pep talk? What angel is coming down and giving me a pep talk? Either the Spirit's on you or the Spirit's not on you, man. Because you got guys in GMS that need their battery packs to be recharged. Well, your battery pack's supposed to be charged through the Most High, man. I didn't have to do this video, but the Spirit told me to do the video. If you feel that somebody got to continuously charge your battery pack, then maybe you're not one of the elect. Remember what happened to Elijah. He thought he was the last prophet left. And the Most High had to charge his battery pack and tell him, look, there's 7,000 just like you. Now there's 144,000, and behind 144,000 is a multitude of people, which represent the elect. It said, for all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. You got some of these Israelites out here that they don't watch maybe GMS videos and IUIC videos and ISUPK videos and HOI videos and LOI videos and did I mention all of them? GOCC videos. And what they'll do is they'll take things. Okay, I'm gonna take this. I like what GMS said on this one, but what the ISUPK said on this, I'm gonna go with this. And they kind of get this. What do you call it? What do you call that? In New Orleans, a gumbo. They get a gumbo of all kind of different things from various different camps. So it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. So that's why some of them, like if all the major camps, IUIC, ISUPK, GMS, Sakari, HODC, and then some of the others, I can mention HOI, LOI, some of them made that one Westers. All these guys got they're different in little doctrines, but let's say we all of us across the board, let's say we all say the MOTB is the Charagma. Let's say we all said it. Then all these other camps will say it. You know why? Because they're following the major camps. So when you got guys out there that is saying that it's not the MOTB like GMS says, and we're not dealing with the great issue. And you know why you say that? Because you're following those other camps. As those other camps lined up with us and said the great thing is right. I know it's a hard thing to hear for your ears, but it's right. They would see it. If all the major camps said the Sabbath is based upon a new moon, and the new moon is not a full moon, which is ludicrous. All right, look that word up, ludicrous. I'm not talking about the rapper either. They would all, because that's what they do. See, so these other camps outside of GMS pretty much bring confusion. For all tables are full of vomit, and when you call on the name Christ, who's the King Christ, and Jesus the Christ, that's vomit. When you say the MOTB is an embargo, it's Christianity, it's sin, that's vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean. Okay, so now let's come back over here. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Read that again. I don't got to read this. And David said, let their tables be made a snare, which is a trap. And a trap, snare, and trap means the same thing. And a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always. I don't have to read the rest of this. I mean, you can, but it says a stumbling block, right? And David saith, let their table be a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Let's deal with this word stumbling block. See, what did America do? The First Amendment. How does it go? The First Amendment. It speaks about religion. There's no there's no national religion. You have freedom of speech, yeah, which is freedom of expression. You can say what you want to say, and part of your expression, which comes from freedom of speech, which is an expression. You can be a man and dress up like a woman. You can be a woman and dress up like a man. You can change your plumbing, because that's a First Amendment issue, and you can have any religion you want. So that's why this place is called Babylon the Great. I don't know. Babylon got to be Jerusalem, and I don't know. No, Babylon is right here. These other nations following the customs of America, Americanization, like the Romanization of the when Rome took over those provinces, people became Romanized. It's like people became Greekized or Hellenized. You know, Japan. You go to Japan, you got McDonald's, you got you got all these different restaurants. You got certain cultures in Japan. Look, I just saw a video of a damn Latin group, which are all Japanese, doing salsa and singing songs, Latin songs, and they sound just like the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. You got a group of the 60s and the 50s where they dress up and go to sock hops because they follow in America, man. That's called influence, man. This is Babylon, man. And the media pushes it. They're going to these, like CNN and other news companies that go to these African nations. They ask the prime ministers and the presidents and the leaders, what do you think about, jihadism? And they're like, no, we ain't with it. So you know what they do to that guy? They get rid of him. Then they put a puppet leader in there to push it, because this place is here to corrupt the rest of the world with confusion. Give me a second here. A stumbling block. I believe this is the word. Stumbling block. Let's find out. Bear with me for a minute. I'm sorry, let's go back. I don't know why this don't come up. Let me do it this way. Bear with me for a minute. Let me take the word stumbling block. Stumbling block. Leviticus 19:14. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shalt fear the Most High. I am the Lord. So, what is a stumbling block? If a blind person is, you see a blind person walking down the street, you put a garbage can in front of them to make them fall over it. That's a physical stumbling block. A spiritual stumbling block is when you say you can be G happy and be a priest in the church. That's a stumbling block. When Jake Farrakhan pushes Islam, Farrakhan is a major stumbling block, but he looks good. He's good. He looks good. He wears clean suits. He got that order. And that's why people follow this guy, and he sounds like a preacher. I don't know what he said, but he sure preached good. He's got a way with words. So that's a stumbling block, because this is a man of God. This is a man of God. And he's going in the scriptures, breaking them down the wrong way. He's a stumbling block. So what's going to happen when they push the charagma, when they push out them charagma stations, just like they push out the vaccination stations, which they're pulling it back already again. I was just checking out something in China where they said there's 250 million people that are infected, so it's coming back. Now, what happened, what was it, back in 2019, going into 2020? It happened in China. Then about 3 months later, it came over here, finally came over here. And they said, well, we didn't know no better because a bunch of Chinese people came to the country and European people came into the country. Well, you should have stopped everything. If anything happens in China, you should have said, no people from China got to come in. If you're a United States citizen and you in China, at that time, you got to stay your ass in China. Nobody from Europe can come because Europe does business with China. And then how many of these Latin tribes coming over here into this country, what kind of diseases do they have? There's an old saying in Mexico, don't drink the water. I remember I went to Mexico. I never drunk the water. What I would do is I would go to a restaurant, me and my girl, and I would order in Spanish, speaking that Spanola, and I would order whatever food, and I would order agua de mineral, which is mineral water, which is in a bottle. You can drink that, but we wouldn't drink the water. If they gave us a glass of water, we'd leave it there. And that they call that Montezuma's revenge. And but Mexican can drink it because they have an immune to that. They're immune to it. We're not. So what do they have that's not affecting them, that if they come over here and come next to us, it's going to affect us? Because they built up an immunity that we haven't. This country is a big fucking mess. And the Most High fucked up your Christmas. He totally, this fucking winter storm, which didn't come, no snow came over here, but it was so goddamn cold. It was so motherfucking cold that I'm in my house. I got the damn windows shut. I got the oven on high blast, and the house is still cold. They said it affected all 50 states. There's what I think it was 5,000 something flights? Thousands of flights were canceled. So everybody that had plans to go where they got to go, they ain't going nowhere. The Most High messed up your Christmas. And he's going to really fuck you up come 2023. He's going to really turn it up. You thought he turned it up this year? He's going to really turn it up 2023. He ain't going backward. He ain't going to say, well, let me give him a break this year. That ain't going to happen. He's going to turn it up even more. So it says, Isaiah 57, verse 14, and shall say, cast ye up, prepare the way, take up the stumbling block out of the way of my people. Ultimately, that's talking about us. John the Baptist and the other prophets, they cast up the stumbling blocks. But we are really casting up the stumbling blocks. Jesus being white, Christmas, Easter, you don't have to be an Israelite in order to make it. These people, the small hats, those are the real people. And you got a lot of Jakes defending these small hats. So we're casting this thing down by what? By truth, by going into the scriptures. That's why every scripture that you go through that has something to do with one of the saints of the Most High, the angels, the Lord, Moses, any of the saints being black, you're going to have vocab saying, no, that doesn't mean that. I'm not saying he's white, but he's not black. What the fuck is he then? Jeremiah 14:2 is really talking about mourning. If you want to go deep, it is, but the root word goes back to the color dark skinned. Qadar. You have Qadar and you have Qadar. Go to Qadar in Jeremiah 14:2. It does, if you want to go deep, it does say mourning, but go to the root of the word. And it goes back to the word Qadar, which means a dark color. The curtains of Solomon, the dark color. And they also say it's skin too. Ezekiel 3, verse 20. Again, when a righteous man doeth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, go back to sinning, and I lay a stumbling block before him. So you go off, and the Most High makes you go off even further, makes you totally go off. He shall die, because thou hast not given him warning. Do we not give IUIC warning all the time about the MOTB? Do we not constantly give them warning? And the only times we got to do it is 2 times. It speaks about a heretic, right? After the first and second admonition reject, it said, because thou hast given him warning, he shall die in his sins, and his righteousness which he hath done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand, because we got to warn these guys. We got to tell them that they're going off. Here it is again. We read this. So this right here is means that when you try to figure this thing out on your own, you're gonna get you're gonna the Most High gonna give you the spirit of confusion. Let us therefore, Romans 14:13, let us not therefore judge one another anymore, but judges rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion of to fall in his brother's way. So some of these camps are guilty of that. First Corinthians 8:9, but take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours, because these men in the different camps out there in GMS, they have liberty, right? But they got to do the right thing. If they do the wrong thing, it's going to come up to us, and we're going to either suspend them or kick them out. So it always comes up to us. But take, what does it say? Obey them that have the rule over thee, for they watches for your soul. But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. In the beginning, when you had guys coming to be a part of GMS, and they didn't like certain things that we were saying, they would eventually know that they're either going to leave or get kicked out. So their thing is to whisper at other guys, see, they're going off. The elders are going off. The apostles is going off, man. You don't see it, huh? And so by the time he gets kicked out or he leaves, he might have 20 guys with him. Because why? Because they're weak. They're weak. But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. I'm not in the position, I'm not going to put myself in the position where I'm checking on every goddamn. That's what they did at One West, and it was a hot mess. You checking on every camp. Just do the work. And if we bump head, run into each other, you happen to be in, there's certain brothers that came out because they got family in New York. So I'm coming out to New York. I got family out there. Can I come to the camp? Not, I'm coming to the camp, nigga. Like Sarge, remember Sarge? You can ask my main man, the Rebukinator, Manata Zakbar. They had that camp, and Sarge was talking about how you gonna punch this guy in the face. And but Sarge, this goes way back. Y'all ask somebody if y'all know Sarge. Talk to that's what we call it. He said these guys are calling me Sarge. Yeah, because you was in the military, so we gave you a nickname, Sarge. This guy gets on one of my videos years ago. He said, we coming up this weekend. Not can I come up? But you know what I said? I said, why would you present everybody? Oh, Dallas, that's the first camp that came out. They would ask. I said, is it all right if we come out there? When they first came out there, we were looking at them niggas sideways, man. But then eventually we opened up to them, because we don't know if these guys are spies, you know? What is Dallas doing with all that cash? They'll come out there, you know? But anyway, coming back to Sarge said, I'm coming up. So I said, you know what? Let me act like, he's young. He don't know no better. He ain't asking, he's telling. I said, I'll let him come up. I said, well, look, why don't you come up a few days earlier so that you can keep the Passover with us? And the nigga got offended at that. You see, I don't like the way the attitude. Then he's talking with Apostle Ramlob, and I don't know he's talking to him. Oh, the former head of the Detroit GMS. This nigga used to come with an avatar. He would ask me a question, like a deep question. Then he would go ask Apostle Ramla, but then he'd go to the other, and then he wouldn't say, "Oh, by the way, I'm the leader." And I knew the Most High was going to get rid of that nigga. I knew he was going to get rid of that nigga, man. And he got rid of him. He came. Look, we had a lot of people in the beginning. The first, I don't know, 4 years, I guess. We had a lot of dudes from different states, GMS guys that used to come up and come be all up. And one time we had like 14, 15 dudes in my crib, man. And most of them fell out. Most of them fell out. So when the scripture said, let everyone in your house. Okay, so all right, let's read this last one, Revelation. Then I'm gonna go to Revelation 18. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak the Moabite to cast a stumbling block. Remember the story in Numbers 20, 22, 23, 24. Stumbling block before the sons of Israel to eat things sacrificed unto idols and to commit fornication. That was a stumbling block. Anyway, let's come back over here. Oh, I said I was going to do this. Genesis 6, verse 2, that the sons of God, are read verbatim, so the daughters of men, that they would fear, and that they took them wives of all which they chose. Let me check something. Let me come over here. Oh, this guy's a complete clown, man. He said that we're the Edomites. He said, we know who you are. You BHI, you're Edomites. I said, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my girl. Let me do this here. Let me go to Google. All right, let me do this. Let me see what they say. Who are the sons of God in Genesis 6 and 2? Christian writers such as Justin Martyr, Eusebius, Clement of Alexandria. Clement was an Israelite in Alexandria. Origen and Commodinius believed that the sons of God, Genesis 6, 1 to 4, were fallen angels who engaged in unnatural union with human women, resulting in the begetting of the Nephilim. So these so-called greats, by the way, these Christian scholars, they follow these guys, Clement of Alexandria, Justin Martyr, Eusebius. They follow these guys. You can look them up. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. What they say, these great scholars that these Christians still follow are fallen angels who engage in unnatural union with human beings, resulting in the begetting of the Nephilims, the Anunnaki. Let me do this. Commentary. Let's go to the Bible Hub. These are your top Christian scholars. Let's see what they say. Oh, this is a long one. Cambridge for Bible schools normally is a short. When they do a long one, that means they know what they're talking about. Let me see. I want to go right to the point. I think they got it right. Okay, let me read from here. Commentators have often shrunk from the admission that this piece of mythology could have a place in the Hebrew scriptures. Accordingly, very fanciful explanations have sometimes found favor, i.e., the sons of God are the men of the upper classes, the daughters of men are the women of the Lord, which makes sense. Which makes sense because we are the sons of God. We are the upper classes, just like we are today. We are the Israelites are the upper class. The other nations are the lower class. The sons of God are the sons of God fearing. The daughters of men are the daughters of impious, meaning unbelievers, which they're right again. The sons of God are the descendants of Seth, which they're correct on. Get down, Cambridge. The daughters of men are the women of the Canaanite race. No, because there were many nations that came out of that. So they kind of sort of got it. They kind of sort of got it. Such interpretations may be dismissed as arbitrary and non-natural, and they furnish, well, they explain it the right way. No explanation of the interference in Genesis 6 and 4. Genesis 6 and 4, they were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God, I'm reading verbatim, came in to the daughters of men, and they bore them children. I'm sorry, and they bore children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. Who are the men of renown today? You got these athletes, right? You got LeBron James, you got the Kyrie Irving, you got Michael Jordan, you got Floyd Mayweather, you got all these guys in the athletic world. Jake dominates everything. That UFC, Jake dominates that. The champions pretty much is all Jake. They didn't took that sport over, just like they take over every sport. It says that a race of giants. Now, when you read that word giants, the word is Nephilim, which means fallen ones. We were the fallen ones. Or heroes, that's a better word, was the progeny of these marriages. Let me read this here. The sons of God. Beni Elohim, which means Bunyam Alahayim, sons of angels, because that's what they say. We just read that in the Google, right? In the pull down menu. Basically, they said they're angels having sex with humans. Now, when you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, it says there's one. You have the celestial beings and body terrestrial, and they have a different glory, like a fish. A fish breathes air, but they breathe water too. Do you know if you take oxygen out of the water, the fish would die? So the fish breathes water and air. You know, you take the fish out of the water, the fish dies. A bird can fly. It's just in their nature that they're designed to fly. And often the mother would have to push them out the net to force them to fly. Then they realize that's nature, man. That's what that proves that the Most High exists. None of you, none of you niggas can fly. All right. Sons of Elohim, or Bunyam Alahayim, sons of the angels, i.e., beings partaking of the divine nature. It has been pointed out above. See note on Genesis 1, verse 26. Okay, well, I already know what that says. Let us make man in our image. That the Israelites believe the Almighty to be surrounded by a court of beings, which are the angels, on the right hand side and left hand side, who were subordinate to him in authority. Bear me for a minute. Office and rank. Their dwelling place was in heaven, meaning the fourth dimension, the third heaven, right? That Paul visited, that he couldn't describe. He couldn't put it into words. Their duty was to perform the task appointed them by the Almighty. They are angels or messengers, Hebrews, malakam, which is angels, messengers. The sons of God are mentioned, right? Then he give you Job 1:26, Job 2 and 1. Give you these precepts right here. But they were correct when they said that they were the Israelites. That you had a group of people that were in higher rank than other people. Because we're supposed to be with our kind. Now, if you deal with other nations, women, you have children, they're your children, they're Israelites. Then I have Israelites and half of Midianites. Okay, so let's get back on track. I'm a little all over the place. But what does it say in Genesis? It speaks about violence, right? Let me come back over here. Violence. The earth also was corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted his way, because he gave them laws upon the earth. And the Most High said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Let's look up the word violence. Violence. I mean, Jake they go crazy with it, man. This is the worst generation right here. The word in the Hebrew is kamas. Violence, wrong, cruelty, injustice. Violence, violent, cruelty, wrong, false, cruel, damage, injustice, oppressor, unrighteous. And this applies to Esau and Jake. Jake is worse than Esau, man. Jake is worse than Esau. Who are the biggest followers of Vocab Malone? Jake. Ain't no Edomite following Vocab. Ain't no Edomite following Vocab. Who follows Vocab Malone? These Jakes. What's going to happen to them? The Most High is going to put them in the dirt and leave them there. So now let's go from here to what is that? 2 Peter 3, if I'm not mistaken. 2 Peter You really got to read 2 Peter 2 and 2 Peter 3. Powerful chapters. Start at the third verse. Knowing this first that there shall be come in the last days, we're in the last days, scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of thy coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High, the angel, I'll say Most High of God, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the waters in the waters, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. But the heavens and the earth, which are now, talking about actually right now, December 24th, 2022, right now, but the heavens and earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire. That fire is what? Those missiles, when the angels come, when the Lord comes, when the angels come. And what place is going to be destroyed? Not the whole earth, but Babylon the Great, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition, destruction of ungodly men. You can do a topic on a word search, ungodly or ungodly, and wicked. I mean, you can just, man, it's easy to do these topics because all you got to do is go to these key words. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with the Lord is 1,000 years, and one day the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but it's a long suffering to usward. The usward are Israelites, starting with the elect. Because the only ones that's going to be saved is the elect. The ones that have the tawa on their forehead, the mark, Ezekiel 9 and 4. But willing that any, but not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to what? Repentance. Meaning back to. Repentance means to be humble, loosely translated, to be humble again, to come under the obedience of the Lord. And it's talking about Israel. It's not talking about the body of believers, like Vocab said. It's talking about the Israelites. But guess what? Not all of them are going to come back to repentance, so the Most High is going to put them in the dirt. A new heaven and earth. The old heaven is what? Esau's heaven. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it. That followeth. So Esau is going to go out with a bang. I don't have to read all of this. But let me read this. It said the Lord's going to come as a thief, melt with fervent heat. Elements shall melt with fervent heat. Let me look up the word melt. Look up the word melt. The word is luo. Dissolve, loosen, undo, dissolve, break up. Give me a sec. Gotta look up these key words, man. And also, and the works that are therein, and Babylon the Great shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, melted, what manner of person ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, powerliness? Seeing that this is going to happen, what is your conversation supposed to be about? About the scriptures, about the end of this man's system. And that the reason why we talk about the end of this man's system is because that give you that fear. This is why the Most High put us out there in the first place. The Most High always puts out his prophets before a major event goes down, because it has to be told to the people before it goes down. It has to be publicized before the Most High takes action. That's in Second Thessalonians 2, one of my favorite scriptures. It says the brightness of his coming. What does it say? The brightness of his coming, the spirit of his mouth, and the brightness of his coming. I'm paraphrasing. You know what I'm talking about. Somebody can put it in the comment section. So it has to be told. See, the Most High is not going to just do it. He's going to have prophets come to say what's going to happen before it happens. So guess what? We are the prophets. We are the prophets. You got a lot of false prophets out there, false messiahs. And see, the elite among Esau, they know that we're the prophets. Just like the Pharaoh, before Moses was came on the scene, the Pharaoh knew about it because he had his magi, his magicians and so forth. Tell him. Herod knew by the star, which was a ship. It wasn't no star. It was a ship. It was a chariot. Shooting stars don't just stop. They don't do pit stops, man. So he said, tell me the place of this child being born so I may worship him. This is the Edomite talking. This is the devil talking. Herod the Great, they call him. He was set up by the Romans, and he looked like an Israelite. He was a tear. And then it said that he didn't want to worship him. He wanted to kill him. So that's when the angel Gabriel got involved with Joseph. Joseph then married and told Joseph, look, go into Egypt. And when Herod died, he said, you can come back into the land of Palestine. It says, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Lord. The coming of the day of the Lord is going to be a terrible day, right? It's going to be by fire. Is vocab show you that the Lord ain't dealing with vocab? Does vocab ever go into prophecies? He doesn't know prophecies. They don't teach you that in the cemeteries, in theological cemeteries. Now everybody uses that term that I started, theological cemeteries. Bishop Nathaniel uses it. Deacon Hakar uses it. He used it the other night. It said theological cemeteries, because that's what they are. And vocab Malone is a joke. He's easy work, looking for and hastening. So we're supposed to be looking for this destruction unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens shall be, heavens being on fire, shall be dissolved. That's that nuclear fire, the radiation, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And then there's going to come a new heaven, which is, the Lord's heaven, But his people, that they're going to get the same reward as our Lord, joint heirs, are the Israelites starting with the elect. And the other nations are going into captivity. And if we want to whip them every day, we can whip them every day. We can bash them over the head with the scepters, because we're all going to be a nation of kings and priests. And we're going to teach them the laws. So that's going to be a good thing for them. That's going to be a blessing. They're going to keep the laws. So now what I want to do is I want to briefly, all right, let's go to Revelation 18, verse 21. Let's start at Revelation 18, verse 20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets. Notice it didn't say bishops or deacons, right? It says holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. Now, this is not going to actually happen, but it's poetic. You're going to come down in an abrupt manner. Let's go to the first verse. Let's jump around. Babylon is falling. Revelation 18 and 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, is fallen, is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean, hateful bird. Now, High Priest Ariel used to say that that's talking about when Esau came in and took over the northern kingdom. He said because every foul bird is a mo, and every unclean and hateful bird is a mo. And the devils. Nope. This is talking about after John saw the destruction. He saw after the fire. He saw after the smoke cleared. He saw that in fact it became a desert. But then the angel rewound it and showing what it looked like and how they're gonna lose all these things. And the part where it says, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come up out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. That's not another thing that the seven used to teach, One West, that we got to get passports. That's something that Ronald, what's his name? Ronald Dalton Jr. is teaching, that we got to get passports and we got to go to Africa. No, it's not talking about that. It's talking about when the Lord come with the angels, there's going to be a sound come up. That's going to be at the seventh trumpet, and we're going to be beamed up into this gigantic ship, which is Yahweh Shai. And the angels are the ones that's going to be shooting lasers on this place. Simultaneously, the supersonic missiles, ICBM missiles will be hitting this place, not just by Russia and North China, but any nation that has these missiles. Because the sole purpose of these missiles was what? To destroy Babylon. And then any NATO nation that possesses missiles, do the research. Ask how many nations, matter of fact, let me do this. Then I'm going to get ready to close. I went a little long. Let me do this here. Let me go over here. How many nations? Shoot. Sorry. What the hell just happened? I got to do this a different way. Bear with me for a minute. How many nations possess ICBM missiles?
Land-based, nuclear-armed ballistic missile with a range of more than 3,500 miles. Only the United States, Russia, and China field land-based missiles of this range.
You heard what she said. You heard what she said. IBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles, supersonic missiles, whatever you want to call them, in full intercontinental ballistic missile, land-based nuclear armed ballistic missile with a range of more than 3,500. Now, I did it. I looked it up a while back. I did a video on it. Moscow from the direct middle. I believe that's Moscow, if I'm not mistaken. Go to the dead center of Russia, and go to the dead center of the U.S., which is the Bible Belt, the Midwest. They call it. It's 5,000 miles. Guess what? Range of the missile 3,500 to 5,600. And it takes about 25 minutes to get from the middle of Russia to the middle of America. So when they do that alarm, where you gonna go? Give me a second. Only the United States, Russia, and China field land-based missiles of this range. Give me a second. Anyway, let me so China has missiles and they're gonna damn well use them along with Russia. Now, I got to go further in to see how many ICBM missiles are there in the world. What country has the most ICBMs? Can China intercept ICBMs? What is the deadliest ICBM missile in the world? Let me look at that. The R-28 Cermet International Ballistic Missiles ICBM, which Russia has projected as the world's deadliest missile, has now entered serial production. Serial production as of November 24th, 2022. That's the most high. That's the most high. Can China? I don't want that one. What country has the most ICBMs? As of March of 2022, Russia still fields 46 SS-18 missiles, each with 10 warheads. You got to think on multiple warheads. On top of it, its other deployed ICBMs and estimated 320 in all, according to the Arms Control Association. How many ICBM missiles are there in the world? September 2021, New Start Declaration, 1,458 strategic warheads deployed on 527 intercontinental ballistic missiles, submarine launch ballistic missiles, and strategic bombers. So they have more than enough to utterly obliviate, if I said that word right, if I said it right, the Babylon the Great. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom. On to the next one. Shalom.